Welcome to Less You, More Profit, the podcast for small business owners who want to work less, stay focused on what matters, and build a business that actually supports their life. If you're running a small business and feel like you're doing everything all the time and still wondering why it never feels like enough, you're not alone. I'm Shana. For a long time, I believed that if I could do something myself, I probably should. But what I've learned, and what I share here, is that just because you can do it doesn't mean it's what you're called to keep doing. Around here, we talk about simplifying what's complicated, reducing friction in your day-to-day work, and creating systems that give you real margin in your time, your energy, and your focus. Nothing fancy, nothing overwhelming, just practical ways to stop carrying more than you were ever meant to carry alone. And yes, I approach all of this with faith in mind, not in a heavy way, just the belief that we're meant to be good stewards of our time, our gifts, and our energy. And that burnout is not the goal.
We're all trying to optimize our life, and especially if you're getting in your 30s and 40s and even older, we're all maybe getting a little more tired and trying to find ways outside of traditional medicine to feel better. Over the last couple of years, started taking quite a lot of supplements, and I feel like I've accumulated them probably the same way everyone else in my mom network has, which is through listening to podcasts and talking to other friends. And one will say, take magnesium. Another one says vitamin D. You hear ashwagandha. You hear all these different things that green tea, a million things that are good for you and all the great benefits. And my bathroom counter looks kind of like a health food store sometimes when I'm loading everything up for the week. And I realized that I've started taking so many of these that I can't really tell what's working. And I definitely am at the point where I don't want to keep paying for some of them are rather expensive. And I didn't start with a good system. I figured I'd do a quick episode because I feel like I'm not alone in this. I think as an entrepreneur, it's important to make sure that we're taking care of our health, but also maybe we're also on social media a lot trying to do our sales and being sold to at the same time, perhaps falling for some things. And there's definitely some pitfalls that I feel like I'm running into. I thought it might be a fun discussion, and I'll share with you. These are all the supplements that I'm taking. I am obviously not a doctor. This is not healthcare advice. I will show you what I take, but this is not in any way to say that you should take those or not. It's more to show you how crazy it's gotten. And then this is more about a system, coming up with a system to figure out how you can take as few as possible, because at this point, I feel like I'm taking probably more than I need to be. I never took any supplements till 2 years ago, and getting into my late 40s, my change is happening a little sooner than I think many women go through. And I was hitting a wall with energy pretty frequently. Didn't have a lot of other symptoms, but the energy was really hitting me, and a little bit of weight gain. But listening to podcasts, I got really into listening to, I really love Dr. Axe. Over time, kind of heard enough of what they were saying, and most of them are functional medicine doctors. They got to me. I started taking them then and really just built the habit up of taking them every day. And then once I started getting to be very good, I was feeling better, and now tried a few more things, added a few more things. Now I'm in overwhelm. If you didn't see the episode on the gathered.me app that I built, you can go to that episode, which is the one I just did before this one. And as I was setting it up, I decided rather than having me just checking the boxes for what supplements I'm taking, to put them all in. So I added a little upgrade feature that I could take a picture of the back of the label, and that way I wouldn't have to manually enter everything in. And I thought also that might help me see when I have overlaps, because I noticed some of these supplements, they come with a whole bunch of different stuff on there. Then it's supposed to be like combined, but the herbal ones, right? It's the combined something for menopause support or something for mood support. And so I noticed that a couple of the ingredients in those were overlapping. I was kind of hoping if I could get them all meticulously in there, which I surely wasn't going to type them in, that I could see those overlaps. I took the pictures of all of them and kind of did the brain dump essentially by just taking a picture. And then one of the interesting things was it pulled the time of day that you're supposed to take it. I realized that I was taking a bunch of them at the wrong time in ways that probably affected whether or not it would even be absorbed. I was taking everything in the mornings. Vitamin D serum I was doing that early in the morning with all the rest of my supplements right after my workout. Realized that wasn't going to absorb as well. And then same, I guess you're not supposed to take iron and calcium together. I did know that you're supposed to take magnesium at night. At least I got that one right. But I just was trying to take them all at once. I didn't have to have the habit. And then realized that some of them I was supposed to take with each meal versus what I was doing. Anyway, that was an interesting thing that I figured out. And then also over the last couple of years, I joined Function Health, which if you haven't heard of that, it's the lab testing service where you can just go get a whole bunch of blood markers done. And I did do that before I started taking all of the supplements because I didn't want to just take everything. I wanted to take the stuff that I felt like I needed. I definitely have seen a difference there. When I very first did it, my omega-3 was very low and my vitamin D was very low. And I've gotten those back up to normal levels, which I'm pretty excited about. And then inflammation was high, so like turmeric hopefully has helped. But some of the other stuff I'm taking is more for my mental cognition, right? And just that, especially halfway through the day, trying to stay on for the full workday and still be able to focus. So creatine is one of the ones that I've been taking quite a bit. I do think that makes a big difference. It's one of the few where I can actually feel it. And I'm not even going to go into all the different types of mushroom supplements that are in. Usually those I have bought as not as a supplement, but I do it like the mushroom coffee and some other things. They're basically drinks, but I'm not even tracking that. I can't really tell the difference. Anyways, that's a really good source is if you're trying to figure out before you start, it's probably good to go do something like a health panel. And I'm sure that your doctor can do it too. But, and of course, if you have a functional medicine doctor, you're probably already doing it. But I just really like Function Health because for me, it was nice not to have to talk to a person, right? First, and go through the time and the coordination of just getting on the calendar, going somewhere where they're going to hard sell you something. A lot of the functional medicine doctors, I'm sure they're mostly great, but a lot of my friends who started getting into that and doing that, the story I kept hearing was that you go there, they don't necessarily charge you exorbitantly for the visit, but then they send you home with this whole prescription supplement pack that you can put together on your own, or you can purchase theirs, and it's quite expensive every month. It's not that I'm probably not spending that on all these different supplements, but hopefully as I start to monitor it over time, I can start cutting some of them back. And that's one of the things I was trying to do by tracking them individually in Gathered is that I can now check the days. I could take off one for a week and just actually see, do I feel differently by tracking how I feel every day? We'll see how that goes. And then I personally don't go to a functional medicine doctor yet. I think I would love to go, but the time it takes to get that set up and then trying to pick the right one. I've called a few. Nobody takes insurance, of course. Well, no, it's not really that they don't take insurance. It's that no insurance covers it. And then I feel like I'm getting almost as good of advice through just getting the lab work myself. I guess I'm more of a data-driven person. I kind of like to see it myself. But I will say I have some really close friends who've gone through a lot of really confusing physical stuff. And it took a functional medicine doctor to kind of look at it in a different perspective to find out that perhaps maybe it was mold toxicity or something like that, where a regular doctor would just never have figured it out, most likely. Here's what I think happens. I think that we consume a lot of health information in silos. I think you hear a sleep podcast and so you add magnesium. You hear a podcast about energy, you add B12, and they do one on inflammation and you add turmeric. All of the hosts are just giving you one little piece at a time. I mean, it's how you put content out, right? But they don't know what all you're taking already. And you tend to just hear that one thing. At least this is what I do. And then I don't look at it as a whole before I just add that one new thing in. I know what most of them are supposed to be for. What I don't know is, are they working together? And how do I know if it's working? And that's the big thing is, what exactly am I looking for, right? And maybe that's where I just need to go a little bit deeper on each one of them specifically, is like, it's supposed to help you with focus, but what does that look like, right? And am I actually monitoring for that? And how do I know? And I think probably maybe stopping them all and starting back over, haven't decided what's the better way to do it. But I think definitely you need to be tracking it somehow. And that's going to be the key for me, is just tracking what did I take on what day, and then also tracking how I feel a couple times a day as I on those days, and see specifically what it's supposed to affect. Do I feel like I'm doing better, and what does good look like, right? And then I don't know what that trial window looks like. I'm thinking, I've read that a lot of things take 4 to 12 weeks of taking them regularly. And that's a long time. Then that's 3 months, right? Are you going to take just one for 3 months and then wait to see? I need to do a little bit more research too on which ones are longer. Maybe the most expensive ones I could look at first and see if I can cut those out and see how long, because I've been taking the whole set for probably 4 or 5 months, the whole list of everything that I have, which is actually up to like 15 different supplements at this point. But if I were, which ones of those take 12 weeks versus 4 weeks? So some of those I've been regular enough that I think I should be seeing an effect. But I think I might have to take them away and start over to know which ones are doing which. Because realistically, right, we should probably start from nothing and then just add one, do that for as long as it's supposed to take, and then take it back out and do a different one with only that one. And maybe there's like a little fear in me in doing that, is like, am I going to feel like junk, right? If I just cold stop them all and start over again. Just thoughts. I did do a little bit more research, and I'll share it with you just because I think it's interesting. I guess there are fat-soluble vitamins that are vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin K. And apparently they do better with a meal that has fat. That's why I like taking the vitamin D serum in the morning before I had eaten. Probably wasn't great. That's probably something I should do more at lunchtime. Obviously, magnesium is at night. And then I said already, iron and calcium, they compete. You want to take one and then the other. If you can even put iron in, a lot of people can't have iron in there, and multivitamin. And that's the other thing is I'm taking a multivitamin, not calcium separately or iron separately, right? They're both in the same multivitamins. Clearly, I can't even split them up. So I need to split those up. And I know vitamin B is supposed to give you energy. I actually heard a really good podcast on Dr. Axe about bee pollen, which ironically, I had a whole bag of bee pollen that I had bought for actually like a kid's science kit, where they're supposed to like crush up the pollen and make fake flowers and show how that like pollination happens by getting it to stick. And I still had a whole bunch of pollen. Now I actually put a little bit of pollen instead of sweetener in my coffee in the afternoon. And that seems to help actually pick me up. But I wouldn't want to be taking that at night. Who actually reads all those labels? And I know that it's on the labels, but it was interesting when I put it in together. It was just nice that it cut that for me and said when I need to take them. I didn't have to figure it out. It just says these are the ones you should take in the morning. These are the ones you should take with a meal during the day or whenever. Then they had evening, and then you can take these anytime throughout the day. And so those are things like fiber and stuff like that. I just thought that was neat. Here's what I'm working towards. I clearly don't have a perfect system yet, but I think that I'm going to start the audit. Definitely sit down and think about what's a good metric for each one. What was the point of taking this, and what am I looking to see to change? And then, of course, consistently logging it every day and gathered. And then slowly, I'm still debating. I'll be interested what you think would be better in the comments. Should I start taking one out at a time and see if I notice the difference? Or should I take them all away and start adding them back? I think you could go either way. And then maybe just do 2 months and just see if anything changed, right? I would be curious what your experiences have been with functional doctors. I just tend to feel like a lot of the consultation, not that I know that much, but I listen to stuff all the time and I'm very interested in learning. But I guess if I don't go there and I get some kind of epiphany, I'm going to feel like I wasted my time. I know that's terrible. So I'm curious if you found them to be helpful. I'm sharing this because I think a lot of us are in the same boat. Well-intentioned, information overloaded, and not actually tracking whether any of it's working. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you a supplement protocol. I'm just a small business owner trying to have enough energy to run my life. And I'm starting to take it more seriously, partly because I can't afford to keep paying for all these things, but also because I don't want to be taking anything I don't need. And if any of it resonated, I would love to hear what you're doing. So you can find me here on Spotify. Of course, you can just comment, or Apple Podcasts. I am posting these on YouTube now, so you can comment there. And the Gathered app, we actually have an Instagram account, and so that's new and exciting for me. And of course, we have the Gathered, a separate channel for Gathered. And then we also have some Pinterest stuff, which is starting again. If you check the show notes, I will link some of my favorite episodes on supplements from some other podcasters that I really like. I'm not going to link any of the supplements that I take, but because I don't want you to in any way misinterpret this as medical advice, but I'll showed you just a few that I take, so you can get it from that. But I don't have any affiliate links with any of them. I'm not endorsing anything specifically, just showing you what I found. And so if you want to go deeper on the science, you should listen to the experts. Okay, so here's what I'm taking. Vitamin D as a serum, selenium, omega-3 twice a day. So this one is a combo I took for the quercetin, which Function Health recommended. Berberine. Organ meats, berberine, creatine, a patch for hormones, turmeric. This is a combo for menopause, multivitamin, probiotics, and magnesium at night. And sometimes these ones I take during the middle of the day. There's creatine, psyllium husk for fiber, collagen peptides, and an organic powder for gut, which when I run out of, I probably won't take anymore. This is the prep at the end of the week. You can see I can't even close this anymore, so clearly I needed a new one. And this is the prep for the stuff that goes in the drink, and I usually mix this with vinegar. I'd love to hear what's working for you, and I'll see you next episode. Before you go, stay in the loop. I've got Gathered, my life tracking app, and Praise, our streamlining course launching soon. Follow us wherever you are on social. Links are in the show notes. Now go simplify something, and see you next time. I'm in the middle of something.
Okay, I didn't know.
Go back. I will come in like 10 minutes. Let me finish this up.
Okay.
Okay. Close the door. It's fine. No one's on there. I'll just cut it out.
Okay.